Welcome to another episode of Equal Family, and this is how today's story begins.
Parents gave my sister $100,000 for a house. They gave me a label. Failure. I stopped calling. 2 years of clean, chosen silence. Yesterday, my sister drove past lavender rows and a tin roof. She called Dad, breathless. He called me minutes later. Is that your property? It is. Bought with work you dismissed as nothing. Built without your hands or your help. He softened his voice, pretending concern. Let's talk like adults. We are. Adults set boundaries. Adults keep gates closed. I ended the call and watched the field settle. The bees kept working. So did I. If you've lived this imbalance, tell me your story. They invested in her, so I invested in myself. My sister, Veronica, made honor roll every year. Dad filmed her award nights. I brought home B's and an A-. He asked what was wrong. Veronica played varsity volleyball. He never missed a game. I joined art club. Mom forgot to pick me up. Mrs. Chen drove me home again. Her car heater saved my fingers. 16th birthdays showed the math. Veronica got a car, detailed to mirror shine. Mine was Applebee's and a $50 card. Be grateful, Mom said, smiling for photos. Veronica went to UCLA, fully funded. They hosted a send-off with church friends. I got a state school acceptance. I asked about tuition help. Dad carved pot roast like a judge. We're not paying for that. Mom leaned soft and reasonable. State schools are for unserious students. It's still college, I whispered. He didn't look up. I signed the loans alone. 6.8% every dollar. 2 jobs kept the lights on. Library stacks and a diner shift. Winter chewed through my lungs. Pneumonia knocked me to linoleum. Urgent care beeped fluorescent judgment. I called home, shaking. Dad said I needed time management. Mom asked about vitamins. Jennifer's mother arrived with soup. Mrs. Patricia Chen, steady and kind. She handed me a $500 check. Not a loan, she said. An investment in your future. Rest, jobs can wait. I cried until the soup cooled. Someone showed up. Therapy followed that winter. Dr. Walsh mapped my family pattern. She named protective expectations, plan for absence, spare the heartbreak. I built a new habit. Invite people who actually arrive. Graduation proved the plan. They skipped. Others filled the seats. I stopped asking for permission to exist. I started taking attendance. Neglect raised me, boundaries saved me. Tuesday dinner smelled like pot roast. I'd driven 4 hours anyway. Veronica answered a video call, glowing. We found a house in Marin. Dad leaned toward the screen, softening. How much do you need, sweetheart? 100,000 closes the gap. She smiled like sunshine. Mom and Dad traded a look. They decided without words. Consider it done, Dad said. We'll wire it tomorrow. My fork clattered against porcelain. You're giving her 100,000? We're investing in her future, Mom said. She smoothed a non-existent wrinkle. What about school for me? You refused to invest, Dad said. You went to a state school? Unserious, Mom added, almost cheerful. It's still college, I said. My voice sounded 14 again. Dad's expression hardened to granite. You're the family failure, Camila. The room tilted. No one argued with him. Veronica's face flickered, then steadied. She didn't disagree. I stood up quietly. I'm finished with this dinner. Sit down, Mom snapped. We're not done here. I am, I said. I left without a coat. Night air bit, clean and cold. I didn't go back. On the highway home, tears came. Then something tougher arrived. By morning, I changed my phone. Silence became policy. No contact wasn't a stunt. It was healthcare. Holidays tested the new rule. Guilt tried every door. Thanksgiving tasted like Thai takeout. I watched movies and breathed. Christmas rang with blocked calls. 17 voicemails saying, come home. I saved 2 for documentation. Both performed concern as control. I time-stamped each message calmly. I transcribed the sharpest sentences verbatim. Paper held what memory distorts. I slept better afterward. Then I went to the Chens. They pulled up a chair. Jennifer's brother taught me a game. Her grandmother told immigration stories. Mrs. Chen pressed leftovers into containers. You belong here, she said. In January, therapy restarted. Dr. Walsh slid over worksheets. Your parents' voices colonized your thoughts. Let's evict them, gently. We labeled intrusive lines by source. Dad said, not truth. We replaced them with facts. Dates, deliverables, deposits, referrals. I wrote 3 counters per criticism. It felt mechanical, then merciful. In therapy, we rehearsed boundary scripts. I practiced saying no without essays. No is a sentence, she said. I said it twice, then thrice. I built a cheering section deliberately. People who showed up consistently. I answered fewer imaginary arguments. I answered emails instead. Mom tested every boundary anyway. Texts shifted from syrup to knives. I archived them into a folder. Evidence beats memory during storms. Weeks passed without calling them back. Breathing learned a new cadence. Silence hurt at first. Then it healed straight. They named me failure, so I removed their access. Work became my refuge, then my launchpad. Freelance first. Anything that paid on time. I rebuilt my portfolio at midnight. Case studies spoke, not apologies. Clients stayed when I raised rates. I stopped flinching at silence. A tech company noticed my consistency. Offer letter arrived on a Tuesday. Senior designer, real salary, benefits, equity. I signed before doubt woke. Sharon, my manager, valued problem solvers. Show your thinking, she said. I learned to present without shrinking. I learned to defend calmly. The imposter voice softened with data. Ship dates, research notes, outcomes. A year later, promotion landed. Lead designer, larger scope, better leverage. 18 months after, I pivoted. Startup role with meaningful equity. 14 months later, acquisition closed cleanly. Options became cash, then possibilities. I didn't buy a luxury anything. I bought soil and sky. 40 acres in Sonoma County. A tired farmhouse and outbuildings. Inspection listed problems like poetry. I saw sequence, not disaster. Contractors handled structure, well, and septic. I took the rest slowly. Weekends smelled like sawdust and primer. My playlist learned every wall. I sanded floors on my knees. Grain rose under patient passes. I painted trim after sunset. Second coats taught quiet patience. I learned irrigation by failing twice. PVC sings when sealed right. A neighbor named Tom taught beekeeping. Calm hands, slow breath, steady frames. Bees taught me steadier breathing. They respected deliberate movements back. 3 hives became 6 by summer. Honey stayed floral with lavender. Goats arrived as lawn crew. They cleared bramble like comedians. Lavender fields started in cautious rows. 5 acres first, then 10. I read extension guides at midnight. pH, spacing, cultivars, harvest windows. The first harvest paid my property taxes. The next harvest paid insurance. I hired 2 high schoolers, Emma and Tyler. Fair wages, flexible hours, real training. We packed orders in the barn. Laughter mixed with dried stems. Emma mentioned college goals one afternoon. I extended hours in a calendar. Save for tuition, I said. Your shift will wait. Purpose replaced the old approval chase. Community replaced my empty holidays. I asked for an appraisal in spring. New roof, restored floors, productive acreage. The number arrived on a Thursday. 2.3 million, conservative estimate. I set the paper down slowly. Then I went to change filters. Growth looked like hard checks cashed. Like hands marked with lavender, not applause. I slept without bracing for judgment. I woke without asking permission. The farmhouse finally felt finished. The fields hummed their steady proof. I planted lavender, and outgrew their narrative. Veronica went wine tasting in Sonoma. A wrong turn found my road. She slowed beside the lavender rows. She saw my truck in the drive. The farmhouse looked settled finally. She took a photo, then gasped. My phone rang an hour later. Dad, voice thin with surprise. Is that your place, Camila? It is, I said evenly. 40 acres? A renovated farmhouse? Yes, and working fields. I checked the records, he said. The appraisal says 2.3. It does, I answered. The silence pressed like old habits. Then the pitch arrived, dressed friendly. We can help you expand. Contacts, capital, real guidance this time. I pictured boundary scripts from therapy. No, I said simply. I don't want your involvement. Mom grabbed the phone, breath fast. Don't be childish, we're family. You said I was failure, I said. Remember Tuesday dinner? We used tough love, she insisted. It pushed you to succeed. It erased me, I said. Success happened without you. They tried again the next day. Email subject, investment proposal. I archived it without opening, then blocked their addresses. A week later, a courier arrived. Plain envelope, Mom's handwriting. Inside, a check for $100,000. A note. For your college, sorry. I sat with it 10 minutes. My hands didn't shake. I shredded the check deliberately. Crosscuts until numbers disappeared. I wrote one line on paper. You can't buy forgiveness. I mailed the scraps back certified. Receipt filed with everything else. Dad switched to performances at the gate. Khakis, polished shoes, weekend face. The camera woke with a chime. He looked smaller than memory. I pressed the intercom button. Leave, I said, steady. I only need 5 minutes, he said. I was wrong, I'm sorry. You had 26 years, I said. You used them poorly. We're your parents, he tried again. Parents get access. Access is earned, not presumed, I said. Not purchased. Can't we move past this? You can move without me. Forgive us, he said, breaking. I can, I said quietly. But forgiveness isn't reconciliation. It isn't access. He stared at the closed gate. The motor hummed, then stopped. He left after 4 long minutes. The camera blinked back to idle. I logged the visit with time. I watered the beds at dusk. Work held better than memory. Boundaries held better than work. I slept through the night, finally. Morning arrived without dread. I forgave the past, without reopening the door. Harvest ended with receipts and rest. 6 figures, steady, not a fluke. The fields funded themselves this year. The farm paid for the farm. Workshops filled before I printed flyers. Teens asked careful, eager questions. Start small, I said, smiling. Learn your soil before your story. I taught pruning, drying, distilling. They filmed on cracked phones. Chris stacked crates beside me. His jokes landed gently. We walked fence lines at dusk. Goats followed like nosy neighbors. I cooked simple dinners, then slept. Sleep tasted like earned quiet. I kept my tech job part-time. For now, that balance holds. The barn got safer wiring installed. The well house finally got shelving. I updated the auto-pay dashboard monthly. Taxes, insurance, payroll, all green. Neighbors waved from dusty trucks. Market friends saved me a tent. Emma left for UC Davis grinning. I kept her summer slot open. Tyler learned the press this season. He fixed a jam without swearing. I sent care boxes to supporters. Gift notes said, "Thanks for showing up." The blocked numbers stayed blocked. My gate code didn't change. Some temptations faded with distance. Some needed firmer rituals. When intrusive thoughts knocked, I listed facts. Orders, invoices, schedules, appraisals. Dr. Singh called it muscle memory. I called it breathing again. Sometimes I stand at the fence. Sun sits low over purple rose. I think about Tuesday dinners past. About names I don't answer anymore. I keep the land. I keep my name. If you've chosen boundaries, you're not alone. Tell me how you held them. I kept the land and my name.